We are going to talk about your life and experience with Divine Truth.
Okay.
In this part, you know, when I discovered Divine Truth for the first time, I thought I got it. I understand everything. You know, and there was a kind of a honeymoon period. Like I was like, wow, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I had this feeling I know better than others personally. And this feeling like, you know, well, they don't know, they should know, and sometimes I was trying to give feedback to people, but just trying to impose my idea and so on. And I see many people that have been through also that, and also a lot of people overseas that like feeling they got it, you know. And they've never received personal feedback yet, and so on.
Yeah.
And my question is, how was it for you? Was it a similar experience, or?
Probably a little bit similar. I think within my relationships, partnerships, I was a bit using Divine Truth to put myself up and put them down. I didn't realize that at the time, but looking back at it now and from some of the feedback I've gotten as well, starting to see that is a technique I've been using. But with sort of like people around, like general people around me, probably not so much.
Okay.
Not so much that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you are quite a shy
that's
kind of person. It was more in intimacy that it played out.
Yeah.
But it was a similar kind of emotion that you got the real thing there.
That's it.
Don't you get it? You know.
Yeah. And I think I noticed it a bit within my family as well, having that even before Divine Truth, just that feeling like being vegan or like somehow makes us superior. Like. It's kind of it's a weird mix. I've got this feeling of also feeling less than other people, but then also this thing makes me like I'm up on my high horse about this issue or something. I don't really know how to explain it, but
well, they are probably correlated.
Yeah,
like because we feel less, so we have something to feel more. Then, so we feel a bit better about ourselves or something.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of mistakes or what things you have learned where you were in self-deception in the first years of Divine Truth, and that you have learned later and that have helped you, and that maybe that you like to share, that maybe it can help others?
I'm trying to think. Self-deception, like definitely heaps of thinking I'm doing well. Like, the first few years, I guess similar with you, like I loved listening and hearing about it, but it didn't really change my actions, and I actually progressively got worse, like in some ways darker actions through that period, and thinking that because I have a bit of a thing with like I'm being honest with my partner about my actions or whatever, and that sort of should like get me off the hook of my behaviour. I realised I was doing that quite a lot. I was like, well, I was open about just say, like I guess it was a very grey area. Like I've never specifically like slept with another person while I've been in a relationship, but grey area of cheating, I guess. And I thought I'm being open and honest about this, so you know. I'm being truthful, so I'm being good or whatever. But
you're forgiven.
Really not, not looking at like what I was really doing, like what was driving the whole thing, how much is this actually harming my partner and all this stuff.
Did you think you were progressing? Because you said no, because you learned. Did you think that you were engaging the teaching and changing your life and progressing? Did you feel that?
Sometimes I'd go through phases because I definitely realised, no, I've relapsed into an addiction, and I'd feel quite guilty and really quite down and bad. And knowing that, you know, this is nothing anywhere near like what the teachings are about. But then I guess getting out of that and then probably feel like I'm doing better than I am, but then still going back to the old behaviour. It was just like this constant cycle where I'd kid myself that I'm sort of doing better, doing well now, and then relapse, and then
Did you had this addiction of wanting to feel you progress?
Yeah, I still keep wanting to feel like I'm doing better than I am, and it's a constant thing.
Is that not something we see a lot around in ourselves, in others? And it's almost like a competition, like I'm doing better, or this one is doing better, or look up at this one, oh no, he's not doing that well, look at that. And this kind of feeling like we feel like shit inside, and we want to feel we are getting better.
Yeah, I think it's just like an arrogant, like a lack of humility sort of thing, where just not wanting to see, like, is our life, are we really kind of, you know, positively influencing everyone around us, or like, is that really happening? I think it's a lot of the times it's not really happening.
If you
really look at it, so it's kind of like, well, maybe I'm not doing as well as I thought. Yeah, but
it's basically a low self-worth issue that is very common.
Yeah, possibly, but it could also be it can be tricky. I think sometimes we can think things as low self-worth when it's actually like superior. I've definitely have that where it's like I've always, in my own feelings, it's like I'm less than other people is what I would like.
Yes.
But I've also got this huge arrogant and like, particularly with women stuff, where I just never knew. I always thought I was just shy of women, and like, you know, they're more than me. Like, it's kind of, I'm so kind of scared of them. Yet I've also tried to dominate, like in a way, dominate women, use them, and, you know, make myself feel better. So
emotionally, the thing that is not seen directly, it's an emotional transaction. So I think it's hard to say if it's low self-worth or stuff, but it's, I mean, maybe it's like really deep underneath or something, but I think a lot of times it's usually like more of very good.
That's what I'm starting to notice a bit within myself, is that
very hard to see before you really get a personal feedback, or like what is God's opinion about you. It's really hard to know. And most of us, we have been so much in self-deception, and it's so easy to get in self-deception because of our injuries, wanting to feel more. Superior.
I think people aren't, until you get the feedback, like a lot of people are going to think they're doing better than they are. I think it's just, it definitely like just goes through all your facade, and like when you actually get it, it's like, oh fuck. I think people think they want feedback, but then I know for me, that's been my experience. It's like, yes, I want to find out what's going on, and it's like, oh shit, like this is I'm not coping, like. But then, and you can stay in that place, which is what I often do for long periods of time, or like actually just try and face the issue and deal with the issue, and then hopefully I'll be able to not have that issue anymore at some point.
Can you share just about this feedback? You obviously receive a lot of feedback lately.
Well, I have been,
like more than average people, much more. So what would you want to share something about receiving feedback, or some example why it helped you, and how you didn't receive it, and how you got angry or not?
I'm probably still
talk about it.
Well, I've been receiving lots of help because I've been giving Jesus a deep tissue massage every week. So I've been getting like really constant feedback, and also having this new relationship and new partnership. So we've been getting lots of relationship help and feedback on that as well. And I've been hating it. I like, it's like I want it, but then it's like, oh my God, it's just too much to bear, to face. This is what I'm really like.
It's just you get it, and you get more, and you get more, and you get more.
And then I've got my partner also giving me feedback as well. Like, and it's just like, it's been full on, and I'm still like hating it. So, but I can feel my own like it's like a childish like tantrum. Like I don't want this to be true. I don't want to be how you guys are seeing this. But at the same time, it's kind of like it does make a lot of sense as well. What like the things they're saying, but it's kind of like.
Do they feel wrong at the time?
Well, I've been having a lot of sort of. I've probably get a bit too argumentative. A little bit more recently, I've been really working on, like, not being in facade. Like, trying to anyway. Like, more just saying what I'm thinking, and it's like, so it's obviously been uncovering a lot of, like, deeper things that you know, you wouldn't get into some of the conversations that we've been having, he's been helping me with, if I haven't been so like just putting myself out there, just saying exactly what
do you feel,
exactly what I'm feeling. I wouldn't say I'm doing it perfectly, but you know, trying to, and then so getting lots of it. But I'm definitely struggling. I'm not through any of it yet. So
can you feel the moment you get resistant?
I revert to like a little child that's just like angry. It's like no.
And what you do after that, when you get out of this feedback, what's happening then?
I've been getting into some getting into tantrums. Like definitely like 6 months ago, I put a punching bag in my van because I just knew how angry I'm getting at everything now. Like it's always been here.
Yes.
I've just been using so many different techniques to avoid it. So, you know, and then you've got somebody that's, you know, really helping you see it, and I was like, but I don't want this to be true, but my actions do kind of like my past actions prove in a way the emotions that are within me about, like, particularly my feelings towards women. Like, my past actions prove that, but I'm wanting to be like, no, it's not that bad, I'm not that bad, I'm okay.
You're self-judgmental then? You start to be
a little sometimes
self-attacking or
self-judgmental. And that's another technique to get away from the actual issue.
Yes.
I know that, but I think I do fall into that a bit, and I get quite panicked about, you know, everyone's going to hate me now, and a lot of different things. But yeah, and it's going to be a big, like, I think it is a big issue to work through some of this stuff, particularly because the world, I think what I've been learning is, like, the attitude that I have towards women is so commonplace in the world. Like, men have this superior attitude towards women, feeling superior, and it's so, like, normalized. So when I'm in this environment, it's called out, and it's sort of like highlighted to me that this attitude is unloving. This is not how God views, like, you know, men and women as equal, and you know, whereas in the world, there's always a lot of, like, either women are more than men are more than women. But in this society, I'm starting to notice it a bit more that, a lot of men have this issue, and it's very, like, just normalized. So, I guess, and it's added to my own resistance to dealing with it as well. So I guess I feel a bit like sometimes I'm not that bad compared to everyone, like, compared to the world, but do I want to stay in that place, like, and just keep that same attitude? So I'm struggling in that place, trying to figure out, do I really want to fix this, or do I just want to go back to living a lifestyle that...
So have you ever considered to...
Just... Yeah, but I don't think I could.
And go back to normal life,
I think I've had too many, like, really enjoyable experiences with Divine Truth, and with... And I guess a few experiences that have made me have more faith that God exists, and you know, and working through emotions is gonna, in the long run, like help me have a much happier and be a more loving person. So I think if I went to it, like if I just started going back into sin and just started going back into addiction, at the moment I feel like I'd really kind of feel pretty like bad about doing that. So I don't know if I'm not sure. But I've had times where I've just gone into a bit of a frenzy, on addiction frenzy, and then I kind of just don't care anymore. That's the other thing. It's sort of hardened. I feel harder again, and it's like I just kind of, yeah.
So you get this feedback, and you are not fast enough to deal with coming up, and it's piling up, and at some point you are so you don't want to go back to the whole life full addictive. So what you do in this place? How is life in this place? Well, can you share a bit?
I've been feeling like shit really all the time.
Do you go to your bed and you hide? You want to disappear, or you are depressed, or all kind of stuff happening to me sometimes. What is your experience?
Yeah, just heaps of tantrum. Like I'm getting into like quite a lot of emotions, but I think a lot of it is just self-perception stuff. But you know, I think I've still got to go through, because I've had a life of never feeling emotions, and I got a bit of feedback about how like my mum never let me be angry, you know. So I've got a lot of like repressed rage that's just going to have to come out at some point, and it's starting to bubble up and come out of me because I'm not. I think one of my ways, I think the rage would build up in me towards women, and then I'd have to like act out and like, you know, go and use a woman sexually, like just hook up with a woman or something, sleep with a woman or something like this.
You have to act it out.
Yeah, I think it's. I've never looked at it this way before, but I think it's like the rage builds up, and then I've just got to go and do something to like kind of calm it down or something. But now that I'm not doing that, it's kind of like, now it's just like, and like some of it's going at my partner, but I'm trying to not do that as well. So heaps of rage coming up.
So what is the course of action that you would recommend in this place?
At the moment, I've been just talking to God a lot. Like I've never really done that before. Like God's been my therapist at the moment. Like every day, I try to spend at least an hour just talking about. Even though I'm not really feeling God or anything, I don't feel like I have a close connection with God or even anything really. But even just talking, it often seems to bring up
being fully honest, radically honest.
And just saying exactly. Like I've had some emotions coming up about like really dark emotions towards women that I've never let myself feel. Like I didn't even realize they were there, and the only way they're going to come out is if I go there and admit it to myself and feel and actually sort of just
it might to the an average person, it might feel like terrible life, but actually in God's eyes it's a progress to be more honest.
I can imagine it'll be helpful. Like like this is the part that's just gonna suck. But you know, it's gonna. I've got to go through it because
you need to see it first. That it's real.
And particularly, I've been spending a lot of time reading about and watching, just say, documentaries about sort of like prostitution and you know, people who have sexual addictions and all this stuff, and like try to like learn about how destructive this attitude and feeling is, and so I'd suggest like spending time on like really looking at and reading. That's the latest sin assistance group. I've been reading through that outline fairly consistently, and I'm finding that quite helpful to just get me thinking about what if I keep acting this way, like, you know, what's going to happen, like how my life's going to go, how much harm I'm going to do to everyone, and when I die, where I'm going to be in the spirit world. That's another thing. I've been reading a lot about the like Through the Mists, The Life Elysian, Gate of Heaven. Because I've avoided really looking at the spirit world and my after I pass. So I'm finding reading this has been helping me think about it more and think about like. Yeah.
So you're really starting to ask you the real questions these days. If we compare to the boy and the guy you were before, who were just taking life relax, you are getting into the real stuff. You have been like just starting to face.
Yeah, I guess I'm in a transition.
Yes.
Where I'm still kind of still feel pulled to be in the boy, but also part of me is like going like I can't stay like that.
And taking the risk of exposing yourself, of being more real. Yeah. Even here, being in an interview, it's just like part of challenging the status quo of the
like I'm even
shy boy.
Wanting to do. I've just signed up to like a Toastmasters thing where they teach you how to do public speaking and stuff like that. That's definitely something I want to work on. Is just because I think part of it is just going to be. Like the world's not going to change if I don't first change myself and then also talk about the process and like obviously I got to actually change myself first, but I'm hoping to work through this stuff and then be able to help other men and women that maybe have similar issues or something.
You have a desire for that? So.
A growing like it's obviously not. I'm not putting lots of time into it, so it's clearly not. I wouldn't say it's a priority, but it's definitely there as something I want to do. And I think the more I work through the issues, the more this is just a theory, that the more I work through those issues, I'll see how powerful it is to have them healed, have the addictions healed, that I'm probably going to want to tell other people how to do the same thing, but I'm definitely not there yet. So,
what would you say is your major next issue to deal with? Because there is often like the next thing, that is before our face, before we can really improve our life. What is it for you?
These women issues for me, wanting power and control over women. So, and just how much rage and that I actually have with my mother. That I still can't. I struggle to kind of really see that properly, but like occasionally I have glimpses of it. It's like,
she's a nice person to you still. She's
generally, I think if I haven't really spoken much to her over the last couple of years, but
So this relationship with women is kind of affecting your whole life, your whole happiness, your relationship with half of the world, basically.
Yeah, I think that they're quite linked to how I, like even just say being messy and disorganized and so. I think they're directly linked to like, because I felt like Mum was overbearing about, I thought she was like a bit of a cleaning Nazi and all this stuff. So I think a lot of it's really like my rebellion, but now it's totally affecting my own life every day. Like just kind of.
In Divine Truth teaching, that talking about living the way, so living the way to God. Which I understand means like really engaging your desires, taking risk in experiencing what you want to do and feeling what's come up from as a result. You know, taking responsibility for everything that's come up. And and be real and honest and growing a desire for truth, seeing truthfully. But would you consider you are living the way, or you have been living the way in this sense?
Probably, I'd say maybe like 5% living the way. The rest of the way is my own way. But like, I'd say a little bit, maybe in some areas. I have a desire to, but the significant portion of my life is still just living my own way.
And when I forget to mention, but living the way, it's of course a major thing is developing also a relationship with God, or Creator.
Yeah.
Would you say you have a relationship with God today, or you? How is it?
Not really. No.
Oh.
No, I don't think so.
Do you pray? Like,
do.
do you ask for God's truth or God's love?
Yeah, I find a lot.
How much and how does it happen?
I think a lot of it's still just in my head. It's not really heartfelt prayers or anything. So
Yes.
I think they're not really. I've definitely had some experiences where I've asked God for truth, like begging for truth, basically, and then the next day, like, you know, I'd get like a feedback set, like just sort of out of nowhere, and it's like, it just gets smashed with truth, but in a loving way. But
and then you say, "Well, that's enough now. Be careful what you pray about." Because
that's it. But and I think I've only had one experience where, I guess I doubt the experience a bit now, but where I feel like I've received God's love, and
can you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, it was not long after. So it was like the 2016 assistance group was the first time I got some really like clear feedback about like my sexual addiction issues and stuff like that, and it was probably 6 months after that. I was watching something about someone. It was an interview series with some other people that listen to Divine Truth, and one of the people was saying how they like verbalizing verbalizing their prayers was helping. So I just tried that. So I just asked God,
speaking loud.
Yeah, speaking out loud. Can I have some of your love? And it's hard to explain. Like, I just felt really overwhelmed with just this loving feeling coming towards me, and it wasn't that long. It was only probably 30 seconds to a minute or something, but and it was really powerful, and I felt really different for like a good month or so. I just felt really more engaged with people and more just happier, and I wasn't engaging my addictions anywhere near like I would. But I think the problem was I got to this point where I can sort of remember the situation too, where I sort of made a decision to just go back to my addictions. So I think I've had that experience where it's kind of like I've just ignored the love that was there and just gone. And I think that's, and I haven't really sincerely asked for it again like that. Like I've asked for it quite a lot of times, but I don't think it's been in the same
sincere.
Yeah, I don't think it's been sincere.
Could you describe this 30 seconds? How does that feel like, if it's possible to put word onto it? How does that feel like during this moment when there is some? It's all different than anything before.
Because I've never really had what I'd call like spiritual experiences or stuff like this. But it was like I'd say like it just felt tingly. My whole body felt tingly. It felt like this just light energy, totally kind of just going through my whole body. And I just felt really loved, and it was really emotionally overwhelming.
You were crying?
I was crying, it was really powerful experience.
So you were having thought, you were feeling thoughts in that place?
The only feeling, as I was saying the words out loud, I was feeling kind of, I'd say it felt like embarrassment or something. I feel embarrassed. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly how.
Like if you don't deserve that?
Maybe something like that, or something to do with that I'm talking out loud to myself, and then is this even real, or am I just an idiot? Or, I don't know. It was a mix of different things, but
like what's happening to me?
Yeah, but then it was actually like this outside feeling coming in. Like it was just it didn't feel like a normal feeling within myself. It felt like something. So, but the reason I doubt it is because I have doubts about it now. Is it could have just been like maybe, you know, spirits and stuff. So I'm not really sure. You know?
Yeah.
So
did you ever talk about it to anybody?
Yeah, a few people. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
in the moment, had you any idea or feeling or thought, oh, it's God's love, or you?
Yeah, I felt just certain, like, because it was I asked for it and it just came like. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And it was so surprising.
And it was, and I felt so different. Like, I'd say for a good month or so, like just really just, just really a lot happier and just and still like and really looking at my issues and stuff. And but I kind of remember there was a point where I just sort of chose the sin path again. I was just like,
how long ago was it?
That was probably 2016.
16, yeah,
or 2017 maybe. So that's what's that? 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years.
You said, okay, you felt change for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Then you make a conscious choice to go back.
Yeah.
And then what happened that your desires for divine truths grew up again? If you remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's just always kind of there, but I guess I go through phases of how involved I want to be with it, or if I want to just sort of just be doing with my own life, doing whatever.
Okay. Divine Truth teaching is a lot about like looking at our relationship with ourselves, but with other, and the interaction, the dynamic of what we want from other, what they want from us, and so on. And often the way we live is coming back from what we learn as a little boy and girl in our family. That's what we know to be the truth and love, and that's how we live our life. And then you discover divine truth, and you start to see that there is something wrong in the way you believe it's right. And then you start to receive a bit of feedback. What are the things that, and until someone change in the family and start to address it and change the way we behave, it goes from one generation to another. And it never stops. So the world will never change until someone decide to address it, right?
Definitely.
And so what have you learned in your own family dynamic that you feel that needs to change if I ever want to have a loving relationship?
Well, a big one, I think, well, from my dad's side, I think obviously, like, taking responsibility. Like, I think, like, he's just sort of up and left his kids and family and that. So there was obviously something within him. He chose, I think he was quite into drugs and stuff at the time, and chose, obviously, seeking pleasure and that as, more important than avoiding pain, responsibilities and avoiding pain, stuff like that. So I think there's that one on that side for sure that I have. And then from Mum's side, more like, I think a lot of it, like I was saying, a lot of it has to do with like the incestuous stuff. Like there's been, incest in the family, like going back generation to generation. So I think that's...
What does that mean to someone who never heard this term?
Well,
it's like a sexual, physical abuse, or
well,
what is
that
it?
has happened in like my grandparents. Like it's gone down the family. Yeah, it has. And then
you mean abuse within the family?
Yeah. Yep. And then
of men or women?
Of women.
Of women.
Yeah. Yep. And then so there's that, and then there's also then it's kind of like just being too close, like basically I was my mum's husband, I was her little husband, yeah. And so it's like, basically I'm her partner.
You take care of her, she takes
not
care
really.
of you.
Oh, I didn't.
No?
I guess it must be more of a feeling I gave Mum than actually taking care of her. Like probably feeling like she's a great mum, like can't live without you sort of thing. Like because she brought me up to live like to feel dependent on her, and like basically feeling like she's a great mum. Like I think she feeds off that. She needs that feeling within herself, so she gets that from me.
Yes. And what you get in return?
Yeah, I was getting looked after and lots of nice feelings. Nice feelings.
Like you are fantastic.
Like I'm great. I'm awesome. Great. I'm like
fantastic person.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Better than other men.
I'm not sure. Women? I don't know if I've really had that feeling so much.
Better than women?
Yeah, I think that's definitely
better than your sisters. More
yeah, I think I was definitely the favourite child for sure.
It seemed to be safe, and that was loving relationship. And that's all wrong in God's perspective. That was
trying to think of anything else. I think they're definitely the main. And another thing I got some feedback about was that one thing I was never taught to be self-reflective. Basically, that was one of the most damaging things that.
And your mother is not self-reflective?
Well, this is the thing. Like I feel like I am. She probably feels like she is, but it's. I think it's a self-reflection based on just wanting to see it how we want to see it.
On self-deception.
Self-deception, reflection, self-reflection.
If we can
so,
yeah.
So that's another thing I need to work on.
Yeah. Do you sometimes keep praying, or do you?
I have been. Like this year is probably the most I've ever. Like every day, I'm basically. It's more just a conversation. I guess I'm having with God, and it does bring up different emotions. But I wouldn't say they've been really powerful experiences or anything, or sometimes they are, but...
You share yourself, or you ask for truth, or you ask for love, or what you are doing?
A lot of it's, just being truthful about how much I'm hating this process and how much I'm going to have to change and like... And sometimes, some feelings of like... kind of, I guess, feelings of remorse, but like also linked in with like, I don't want to feel bad about what I've done. Like I've done so much. It's like I don't want to face all that, you know. But
you feel guilt?
Yeah, some. Yeah, and I think it's a growing I think there's a lot of guilt and shame. Within me that I actually need to connect to because I've done quite a lot of shameful things.
Well, it's a big part of the law of compensation as a result of it can become an excuse to not see the real thing as well. And I hate the feeling of it, and I also hate, and I think it's why I hate like because I've been open and then having also other people knowing my issues and talking about my issues and I just, I feel so, I don't know. Yeah, you want to be the good boy.
I want everyone to think I'm good and
nice.
It's really like
cool guy. Yeah, it's not very cool what you're talking about. You're not very cool anymore.
No,
and it feels
it changes.
It sucks.
Yeah. So, but like you're saying, it's part of. I think the compensation of acting that way. You know, and it's possibly going to make me. Second get doing that behavior in the future, you know, if I'm not sure.
Well, if you felt really good about all the bad things you did to others, you would keep doing it all the time. It's a good system. It doesn't feel like Have you used your willpower to try to change?
Definitely.
How did that work for you?
It
How did that work?
It doesn't at all. Like I'm working. Some of the issues I'm working with at the moment is like while I'm not, sleeping with girls, massage and all this stuff, but I'm still wanting to look to sexually project, check out women. Yeah. But I have for the last 6 months I haven't at all. I've forced myself not to, but the feeling is still there, and it's gonna happen if I don't at some point. I'm just gonna...
Yes, the desire is still there.
The desire is still really strongly there, so it's like... I'm kidding myself that I've worked on the issue. Just because I'm not doing it doesn't mean that...
Do you believe it's better not doing it with your willpower and
that's what
or doing it and being honest? What is best?
Yeah. That's what I want.
It's a real question.
I want to feel like that's the way to do it, because it's the only way I feel to me, that's going to work. I feel like I can't see this other way working, but then I'm also because my partner, we've just recently broken up, but she can still feel, she's quite sensitive to feeling even though I'm not looking, there's still a feeling going on between me and other women, if we're out in public or something, and I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do about it? I'm really trying here, but it's because of this. I'm trying with my willpower. I'm not.
Yes. You don't want to really.
I don't really want to fix it yet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's not working. I still really want to just keep willpowering it.
But
it's also exhausting. It's also been building up resentment in that's I'm trying so hard, but can't you see that I'm trying, sort of thing? It's
it's exhausting.
Yeah. So
it's like nothing changed really.
No. So and that's having a faith for that still. It's
I'll ask you that because I have used so much, and I see most people. It's a normal way we learn in our families, in our societies, to use our willpower and to control everything.
Yeah.
So we are quite good at that.
Definitely.
But it doesn't help you to grow on the way to God.
No.
On the way to love, loving yourself and others.
No.
That's your experience.
Doesn't seem to be.
Yeah. Divine Truth teaching often, Jesus, Mary and others speak a lot about mediumship, and how as a kid we normally have mediumship ability, and so mediumship ability for the person who do not know, believe, it's like we have, when we are created, we have two bodies, and there is a body that when we die in this life, we go in another world, we pass in the spirit world, that's what we call spirit world, and we live with our other body. And so there are plenty of people there already who have passed, and so the life continue after our physical body decay. So basically that's what we learn from the teaching, and that a kid normally is able to hear and sometimes see people pass in the spiritual world. That's about everybody is given that and then we kind of lose it often for different reasons. But then Divine Truth teaching say, well, it's interesting to reawaken this ability because there is a lot of help available, and also in some cases we might help some people who are stuck. We have similar experience and so on. So what have you experimented with that?
Just recently, a little bit. Been trying some. Jesus has done a really good session about developing mediumship and healing, so I've been going through that and experimenting with some automatic writing, and I've gone to some mediums and tried to learn a bit more about my guide and stuff like that.
What did you learn?
Well, she basically just told me how she got to know her guide, and some advice about kind of letting them sort of impress a visualization of themselves. And so I got one night I did that sort of just before I went to bed. Got a bit of a picture of what my guide looked like. And
so you mean they took in pictures?
I think they use lots of different. It's like they influence your own imagination or your own, if you're automatic writing, your own sort of thought process and. Well, I'm not sure, but this has been sort of what I've been experimenting with. So it's still kind of your own thoughts and all this, but it's kind of like influenced in a way into sort of showing you. And then that night I actually woke up and I could feel my guide, like I saw him laying next to me. And I thought it was God. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what was going on. I'd like just woken up and I'm like, it felt so powerful. Like
you were sleeping.
I was in that. I woke up and I was sort of half asleep, half awake, and I see this like white, like glowing man,
laying,
sort of behind me.
Okay.
It's hard to explain, but I quickly realised it was my guide because and my first feeling was like, oh, is this something to do with God? And then I think I get the feeling that it's because I think he's either at one with God or something like that he's received a lot of God's love or something, because he was glowing and felt really loving. I've never really had any experience like this before, so it's been interesting having some. Yeah.
So did you discover something about your guide?
Well, I don't know how true any of this is, but I got a name because I got a picture of him, and I felt like it looked like he had red hair and was a bit like Viking looking or something. And then I got this name, like
a bit like you.
Yeah, a bit like me. And I think he's had similar issues to me as well with women and stuff like this. So that's sort of a bit of a feeling I get as well. And I got this name, Aedus, Aedus, when I was doing some automatic writing. And I googled the name because I've never heard a name like that before, and it came up with this. It means like fire, and then someone's last name was like fire. It meant fire eyebrows, basically. So I got the feeling like I don't know. It just felt like a bit of maybe a confirmation that the visualization I had, and fire eyebrows, like
in
the
what
red
language?
hair.
In what language?
It was in like I think Celtic or something like this. Yeah, I can't remember specifically now, but I don't know. There was just quite a lot of little synchronicities over these few days that I was experimenting with, just asking, and so yeah, I've got a bit of a visualization now, but whether this is just all in my head or whatever, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'll just keep experimenting with it.
Are you having conversation with your guide?
Sometimes, yeah, and I've started trying to. Because in that series, Jesus talks about trying to, write some communication directly from your guide or something.
Is that like you don't control your hand?
Yeah, I find it a bit. Yeah, again, I'm still experimenting because sometimes I'm really not sure. Is it me or what is it going on here? But I find sometimes the message is like. It feels very direct towards me. It doesn't feel like me. It doesn't feel like something I'd write. Like I asked for some advice on some issues and stuff, and it feels more like a message for me, not something I'm writing.
Oh yeah, right.
Probably a way
yes, it might be a bit surprising or something. Not something you would think about or something. Yeah.
Or it just sort of comes to me like in the moment, the thought to write this word or whatever.
And so, a good advice then, if I understand, is really to use a pencil, or a pen to write it down. What is given to you that's helpful.
I recommend watching this series because it's like Jesus goes through lots of different the emotions that are blocking and really not overthinking it too much and just sort of not being so worried that maybe it's your own, just kind of doing it and then keep refining it, improving it, and working through different issues that might be blocking it. And But I've been having quite a few different, like, quite scary spirit experiences as well recently. Like, again, never had anything like this before, but it was after I first got some quite firm feedback about 6 months ago, and it was one of those things where it's like I felt like I've really got to sort this out now because it's going to destroy my life and everything. And then I felt it was again, I woke up in the middle of the night and I felt this, like, it felt like a snake almost, but like these two arms wrap around my body and were closing, like my ribs and everything were actually like closing, like it was sort of constricting me, and I couldn't for the life of me sit up. I was trying to get up because I was terrified. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And but I just started like breathing and praying, just like, and eventually it stopped and I was able to sit up. But like again, like never had any of these sort of experiences before. But
what was the feeling? Is that someone tried to restrain you?
Someone trying to restrain. Basically, I think it was to freak me out, to not, to basically give me the impression that, you know, we've got you. Like, don't try and deal with this stuff. You know, otherwise we're gonna try and.
So what is your advice to people who have people who wants, you know, to control them or something, like in the street?
I'm not sure.
You don't know how
I'm still like,
you don't know,
because I think I'm starting to think I'm getting spirit influence a lot more than I've ever realized,
which is what you want to develop.
Yeah.
So you develop your sensibility to other spirit as well.
But even more that. No, I think I've always been influenced a lot, but I'm not. I think I'm starting a little bit more to realize how much it's happening. It's happening a lot. I'm very not present in situations. I'm noticing.
You go out of body.
Yeah, like very you'd probably say airheaded. Like I do things that are just a bit like not thinking things. Yeah, I'm on automatic pilot a lot, and I think that really just opens you up totally to. You know. So it has.
You have always been quite mediumistic somehow. Is
without
easy to influence without knowing it, and you are starting now just to discover it and becoming more sensitive to it, right?
And particularly, I find for me, it's because I've always like sleepwalk, like a lot, like sleepwalking, and I've heard Jesus talk about that. That's often kind of being overcloaked, basically. So. And they're the times when I often see, like, I've seen someone in the cupboard before, and like this was like years back before.
Were you scared?
Yeah. He looked like he was like from an insane asylum or something, just sitting in the cupboard. Like he looked really scared as well, but it was creepy as. But I always just throw it off as like a, you know, just a dream or like just a bit of a. But. Now I'm a bit thinking, no, I think these are actually spirits. But
the thing is important to share also that spirits are attracted to us because we have a compatibility with them. Definitely. You know, an opening to their attraction.
Yeah.
So it's important to know that because a lot of people in the church say it's really evil. Yeah. Don't get into that stuff.
Yeah.
But actually they are just other people, and sometimes we have compatible addictions and they get something from us and we get something from them, and so it's not different than other people. The only difference is we don't see them, basically.
That's it.
Yeah, that's important. Well, that's part of Divine Truth teaching, telling the truth about, you know, spirit. So it's important. Do you have special daily practices or rituals that you do that's helping you in your...
I have started like journaling in the morning when I wake up, because I got a bit of feedback about the not good at self-reflecting basically. So I thought I'm going to spend some time just every day, just set aside a bit of time just thinking about what I'm doing and what I'm doing with my life and how I'm treating other people and stuff. So I have been finding that helpful, and even just I find doing it in the morning good because I come up with a bit of a plan for my day and different things I want to work on, Whereas usually I just float through my days. Like that's sort of, I just go with the wind, like whatever. Like no structure. Like that's been one of my things. Like I've never really had a structured life, and I've liked that. But it's also quite limiting too, because I don't set myself like tasks and things to complete, and so. And then like I was saying before, like I try and spend an hour or so a day just basically laying in bed, just having therapy with God. But I don't know how helpful this is.
So talking with God?
Just talking with God.
And journaling every day?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yes. And did you notice any benefit from this experiment?
Yeah. It's probably just got me a bit more thinking long term or something, like less I'm not sure. Well, I think one thing it is helping me whenever I feel like an addiction, like desire for an addiction coming up, that's the time where I'm starting now to be like, okay, no, now I'm going to spend this hour just talking to God about this thing, and then I end up sometimes feeling some emotions about it. But I guess it's giving me this thing of just like going to God first before I act on some of this stuff, and I think it's going to help. I don't know, probably.
Okay.
So I'm only just started doing it really, but yeah.
Well, at least you show a growing desire for being more self-reflective.
Yeah,
I would say.
Trying.
There is a video and there are talks in Divine Truth teaching about the sleep states. Yeah. And so the sleep states would, what I understand of it, it's like basically we go to sleep and we have this deep sleep where our spirit body goes into the spirit world or on the planet, and as is, we have our own life basically, not with our physical body but with our spirit body, and all kind of stuff happening to us. Have you ever experimented with that? And most people do not remember when we wake up. Generally we are a bit under shock, and then like we forgot. And I'm not talking about dreams like it's dream, but it's a bit different. It's a bit like a symbolic message we get. But I'm speaking about the real life, things that feels real, like and experiences.
I guess I still really can't tell the difference between dreams and sleep state experiences. So, but I went through a few weeks of just, as soon as I wake up, like writing out what dreams or possibly experiences. I found that actually really helped me remember. There'd be points that would sort of, remember parts of these memories that I wouldn't have remembered if I just went on with my day. So I think
that's helpful, eh?
Yeah.
To write it down directly, because often the memory is just a moment and then it's gone.
Yeah, that's it. So I haven't been doing that the last week or so, but and then I feel like I'm not remembering it as well. So I want to get back into doing it, because I think just even making that commitment to sort of think about it, you can sort of remember it more or something.
And it's part of our life. Does not stop when we go to bed. Well, it's part of also taking responsibility, because might be a lot of things we dare to do when we sleep, and we don't dare to do for some other reason when we are awake. So if we ever want to become more loving and take responsibility, we need to know our whole life.
What's happening.
So that's really important.
And I think I've definitely had lots of I think sexual stuff and going on in the sleep state, and I often have quite nightmarish, like scary things happening. Quite a lot of that that I probably generally don't want to remember. I feel
maybe one of the reasons we don't want to remember is a lot of shame in what we are doing, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Often. But there might be beautiful things as well.
Possibly.
Like,
yeah,
we might have encounter with friends that are, helping us as well.
Yeah, well,
like
I have quite a lot of dreams about Jesus and Mary, actually. Them help, like, give me feedback and stuff. And I don't know if they're sleep-day experiences or... but, yeah, I had a week every night where Jesus was just helping me with my issues in my sleep, basically.
Well, it seems to me, to what I understand, it's even more a sleep state, a real thing that... like
it's very possible because he's doing it in the awakes. He's helping me in the awake state, so possibly. But
yes,
what
we are talking. It's about your experience, and it's up to anybody to get to their own conclusion about their own experience, because at the end you cannot grow from the experience of someone else. You can just be inspired to engage it, and that's it.
Yeah.
Since you discovered divine truth, how is your relationship with yourself developed?
I'm not sure.
Has it changed in some way, or
Yeah, I think I do feel more. I just like a bit more, a few more aspirations to being more self-responsible and being. And trying to live my passions as well. Like, it's trying to figure out what they are, and
How do you see yourself? What do you feel about yourself? Is that the same? And
how do I feel about myself? I think there's such a mix. Like, it's weird. I got this arrogant thing, but I've also got quite a lot of like insecurities and just. I'm really not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, how I feel about myself. Yeah, I do have a big feeling of not liking being me, actually. Like, I wish I wasn't Jadda. It's kind of a feeling I've had. But
you have been avoiding yourself most of your life, and now is that a statement of truth that you start to look at yourself, but it's a bit reluctantly?
Yeah.
Like you don't like what you see?
No.
Yeah.
No. And I don't like having to grow up. I think I like being a kid. Like, I want to stay just... So there's part of sort of... that's really holding me back. Yeah.
Well, there is certainly more a growing desire to see yourself, even if because before you were avoiding completely on the whole line. So it's still that. Okay. Another big thing in divine truth teaching is who we are, and we are a soul.
Yeah.
And actually, we are half of a soul.
Yeah.
And when we incarnate, there is another half that is our soulmate.
Yeah.
Like God choose that's another person to be our partner for eternity, basically.
Yeah.
Have you experienced about that? You talked a little bit that you might be with your soulmate, but what is your experience with soulmate and your desire for soulmate?
The first time I heard about the concept in Divine Truth, I was sort of excited about the idea initially, but then it's like I have this feeling of like, being just this one person. I think I don't like that. Like my addictions and injuries just hate that sort of concept. Because so
why?
I think because you've got to really live at a higher standard. Like, you've got to really treat that person well. Like, and I think part of me just doesn't.
Because she's you.
Well, that too, but like, with the other attitude, it's like once you get sick of them, once they get sick of you, you just find somebody else, and it's like you can't do that if it's a soulmate relationship.
You're stuck with her.
Yeah, so if you fuck up, like if you treat them badly, you've got to own up to it. You've got to like repent for it. You've got to change. Like, I think those parts I don't like.
You're not very keen on that part.
No, and just I guess like how long forever is. Like it just seems with some person forever. I don't know.
So, but you might have attracted to your soulmate.
I know.
How would you? How is it possible? You must. If it's the case, I have no idea. So there must be some opening or desire for that, or attraction.
Well, what we've been learning is a lot of it has just been purely like codependent.
You got feedback about that?
Yeah. So a lot of it is definitely like a.
So you don't know if she is your soulmate?
No, but I guess I hope she is.
You hope?
I do.
You want
I
to.
do. Yeah, she's definitely probably the most attracted I've been to anybody, and the most, like I said, things in common. Like we have really similar, like future goals and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I really have no idea. But I definitely resist. Like I want it, like, but at the same time, I definitely don't as well. So,
have you had personal experience that made you realize she might be your soulmate? This kind of experiences.
Well, the whole thing, like the attraction and everything was so intense. Like, we were both just certain. Like, so we both felt a bit deflated after finding out some of the issues between us and stuff like this, and just how much of it's really just addiction, but it's definitely an experience I've never had with anybody else. Like it's way more powerful than I've ever had. So, but that can just mean the addictions are just that powerful. So I don't know, but yeah, I think it's going to take a bit of time to just really know for sure. And yeah.
Well, I've been in a relationship when I wanted her to be my partner, and I got all kind of spirit influence, and I was convinced she was my partner because it was very powerful spiritually. We had both, and it was just because I wanted to believe. But I think it might be when we have injury toward the other sex that we might repulse more in the beginning our soulmate, or be repulsed a lot. And so it might not look like in the movies things like, oh, I love you so much, and so it might look very different what we believe a relationship is. That's just what I know. I don't know what it is, but for the sake of the viewer,
it doesn't always mean
we have no idea how. At present.
And it's kind of, I guess, it's kind of really good that we've both been getting like feedback and help and getting really real with each other and the emotions that are going on between us, and
the thing that is true is that when you grow in your desires, and she's growing, or he's growing for a man, a gay man, in his or her desires, you grow closer. That's a really a thing that would happen. Sure. That's the way. Sometimes we see in couple we grow in something and then we grow apart. That means that we are not the same soul.
So we'll see, I guess.
We'll see. Your relationship in general with other people, has it changed since you listen to Divine Truth and start to engage? In terms of quality of love or care or fear of...
I would say, particularly since like moving out here and engaging other people that listen to Divine Truth, like I've made some friendships and that are a lot more honest and kind of, they're more honest with me, they hold me to a higher standard and stuff as well than I've ever had, and that's been really good. Even my friendships, like that I have had before, have improved. Like they feel like they've improved because I'm just more trying to be more honest, just trying to be more myself, more relaxed, and so that definitely helps.
And they like that.
But I wouldn't, like I was saying before, like I wouldn't say I don't have that many close friends, because I think it's been another thing, like with just social media and stuff. got lots of friends,
Yeah.
like, you know, but it's not. I wouldn't say I have that many deep friendships.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's something I want to work on, but
it's pretty rare in this world.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
And for men to be really radically honest about their things, they don't talk
their
so
feelings
much,
particularly.
men, in average.
Yeah.
Like they're more rough, and that's girl things.
Yeah.
Attitude. Yeah,
true.
As you feeling toward the environment evolve also?
Definitely. I think I'm starting to realize how I've always felt like I've loved nature and I've loved the environment, but it's always been more of I love the what it's giving me, basically. Whereas now I'm sort of realizing that's not really love. Like that's more just like taking, as opposed to like. So now I spend a bit more of my time actually like helping the environment, like you know, fixing the soil and mulching and planting trees, and
you enjoy that?
Yeah. And I've never. I mean, I used to enjoy a bit of gardening back in the day, but it's sort of ramping up a lot more these days, and that's a big part of that has been like through volunteering for God's Way and that, like learning.
And do you feel the result of it as joyful or painful?
Joyful. I enjoy every second of it, really. Like I love the physicality of it and just seeing the changes and just experimenting with lots of different.
That's a beautiful example of engaging God's law in a loving way, that you can feel the result if it's right or not.
That's right.
If divine truth teaching are right about it, you would feel really. And it's not the same as a joy from engaging in addiction that is a little joy and pleasure. Let's say that's passing, and then you need again. It's a joy that fills you really deep in your heart.
True.
It's a beautiful example. So anybody can experiment about the environment and feel this. If it's true, when you take responsibility and you start loving, it gives joy. And you can experiment if it's true or not. Have you changed your diet since a lot of people do? Since you listen to Divine Truth, like no animal product or something like that, and or not? Have you changed your diet, and why?
I was brought up vegetarian, so I was already veggie, and then through high school I ate meat, and then I was off and on being vegetarian and eating meat for a few years before I heard Divine Truth, and then there was just one talk, and Jesus just said something simply about like, if you kind of had to kill the animal that you were gonna eat, like a self-responsible person kind of wouldn't get somebody else to kill the animal for you. You'd do it yourself. And I was a bit like, okay, I'm up for that challenge. I'll kill the next chicken that I eat, otherwise I won't eat. And I just it just hit me. It was like, I just can't. Like, there's no way I can kill this animal. So, stopped eating meat from that point onwards.
Are you kind of a vegan activist? Like, I see some people like judging others for being.
When I first got into the vegan stuff, I did feel that a little bit. I was like, why isn't everyone just going vegan? Like, come on, people. But I feel a lot more relaxed about it these days. I've definitely. I like my activism to be more like for me, it was like starting a vegan business. Like, just showing people that there's healthy, yummy food that, and just creating basically vegan options for people. Because sometimes I'd be at an event where, there wouldn't be. Whereas I'm creating this option where people have a chance to be able to try this thing, as opposed to being somebody that is like,
Would you have people that try your stuff and say, wow,
definitely,
that's
I have regularly people come back. Like, a lot of people would even be like, I eat meat all the time, and it's like, but that was like one of the best meals I've ever had, and I'd love to, like, they want to get some details and like some recipes or whatever.
Or would you have people that say, that's disgusting, I never eat vegan anymore?
I don't think, no, that's never happened. Never, no.
Not in that sense.
No, maybe they. I had someone give me a 1-star review on a Facebook page before.
What does that mean?
It didn't say anything.
1-star review means it's good?
No, I think that's bad. Like,
that's bad.
That's the lowest thing. I was a bit like, but, you know, I don't even know if it was a person that actually ate. It might just be somebody who doesn't like vegans, just gone 1 star.
So you'll move him from your friends?
Yeah. I was just a random person, I think.
Have you had this period when you felt I'm not really growing, or you got the feedback that wow, I got the wrong direction?
Yeah.
And you kind of, I cannot go the way back to my old addiction, but
Yeah.
I go forward. It's a misery, and and I just want to hide, or I go into depression for a time.
Yeah.
You know, did it happen, or does it happen sometimes to you? Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty constantly.
Like you feel. And what is your way to deal with that? You take medication, or you...
No. I definitely just try, like I was saying, just try and talking to God and feeling something. Because I definitely find after it can be any sort of emotion, it just gets me back into I guess back in my body or something, or back into just get some motivation until the next.
Do you go out of body still, you think, in this?
I think
moment?
a lot, but it's not that. I'm noticing some things about myself, about how scattered my thinking is, and like how much I just want distractions all the time and stuff. I think it's all very. I'm just not in my feelings. I'm not present. I think it's going to take a fair bit of work. I think, yeah.
It's good also not to expect. It seems that it's 10 years.
Yeah.
You have not been fully into it. That's clear. A little bit here and then back and going back, a bit touching.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to more engage it. But and for me and many people I see, I was expecting to be at 1 in 1 year or something. You know, like I watched the first talk and it was just like you can all do it, and I will go for it.
Definitely.
But it seems it takes time, and the expectation that it will go quick, it's unloving, really.
Yeah.
And we might, of course, we might have less resistance and go faster.
Yeah.
It's possible, but the average people, there are a lot of things to deal with. And so it takes time, and so we.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think I've heard you talk about how. Think of how long a period those emotions were sort of going into you as a child. Like, it's going to take time to get them out, basically.
Yes, exactly.
It's going to take...
Yes.
Yeah.
And probably more so for someone older. You are quite young.
Yeah.
Because there are more destructive for experience, and more things to deal with. And so the youngest you start, it's a bit less work. But
sounds like it.
It doesn't mean that it's easy for...
Well, like I said, I heard it 10 years ago when I was 20. I could be doing way better than I am now. But
well, many people get a feedback and they just quit. One thing was too much. Pushing the wrong button. You know, get angry and fuck all that teaching. Fuck, you know, Jesus is whatever. Yeah. And they don't come back, and we never hear about them anymore. Have you ever had some moment where you saw? No, it's too much. I run away.
I probably have had that feeling, but it's never been I don't feel like I want to act on it or anything. It's definitely, I think I have definitely had that feeling.
So why you did not act on it? What you did differently that most people act on it?
Yeah. I'm not sure. Because I still just want to keep working on it. And I don't know. I guess I've just had too many experiences now, and too many even just listening to the seminars and stuff. There's just so much richness and just good stuff. That just really help, completely change the world. It's hard to throw all that out. Just because I've heard something about myself that I don't like, when it's possibly this person's right. This person, like Jesus is like teaching all this truth. Maybe this thing that he's saying about me, even though I've got all these reasons, like, you know, you must be wrong, you must be seeing this wrong. I still keep trying to remind myself, like, well, he seems pretty right about lots of other stuff. So
would that be that some people, a lot of people, it seems that they don't like their life anymore. They start to think all that bad stuff and they don't want to feel. That's how I feel, and most people. And then some people still like their life before. And so it's attractive. The other life is still attractive because there was a little bit of pleasure at least. And now there is no, you know. But maybe a difference might be that it's not like your life before looked so attractive to you.
No.
It's a bit the same to me, basically.
Possibly. Yeah. Although there are parts of it that I feel like I want to go back to in some ways. So there is a pull.
Yes. Still.
But but at the same
Not
time
enough.
there's also more
pain also there.
Yeah. But then even though just because I'm here and still listening and getting feedback, it doesn't really, like, I'm still in a lot of resistance. Like,
and you never know around the corner. Maybe the next thing you might take the decision. So like you said, your faith in the truth of the teaching has been growing. And so of course there is more. It's like you can receive more challenging thing because your faith is bigger as well. Like maybe you could not receive half of what you have received lately.
That's it.
Before in the
and
first years.
I think particularly being like trying, like like not being in facade and just saying exactly how you're feeling and thinking, and that really opens up like opportunities for lots more feedback.
Imagine you had received the same feedback like the first year of you. How would that?
I don't know. Probably would have just been out the door straight away. Maybe.
And maybe coming back a year later or not.
I'm not sure.
That's how much we are so resistant to truth about ourselves. It's all attractive, the general truth of the universe. But when it's about ourselves, it's so challenging.
This is something I'm trying to remind myself. Like, what's standard? Like, Jesus sort of giving us feedback to like become at one with God. You know, like is like to be like how like he was in the first century, like at one with God. So it's kind of like, do you want to have this like satisfactory, like seemingly satisfactory life, or do you want to try and like get to this standard? And it's like, these are the things you're gonna have to work on to get there. So it is, you know, it seems really hard, but it's actually probably gonna possibly be a really good journey. But
so you still believe it's true and possible for you to become, it's a true condition, like you can become, like becoming at one with God means that you have received enough of God's love in your soul that basically your human soul got transformed in another creature. I speak up intellectually because I have no idea. And it's called a celestial, you're another creature and you are free from fear, from pain, from everything. That's basically what it is, and it's for everybody. Everybody can get there, and it's this opportunity is given to us. Do you still believe that, and you believe you are going to get there?
It seems unlikely at this point, but I think it is one of those things where like you can, at any moment I could really like change, like I could really change, use my desire,
change,
use my will in that direction. Like hopefully hopefully I want to make that shift at some point, but I mean it sounds very
out there.
It does. But also attractive. Like it sounds like it would be a nice place to be, you know. But,
So would you say that this teaching, Divine Truth teaching, have influenced your life in a positive or negative or both ways? How would you say since the last 10 years?
Definitely positive. Even if it's just even some areas that are seemingly negative, like having to feel emotions and stuff. I also have felt the relief of releasing some feelings, and yeah, I'm trying to think any negative things. Not that I can think of. Nah, I don't think. Yeah, like I do. I think it's brought up. I guess some. I've had some painful experiences that are actually have already always been in me. Like some painful emotions and truth that I don't want to hear, and so some of it does feel like negative. But at the end of the day, it also feels like more of a moving towards a better place than
like more real.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like I'm, spiraling. Or if I do go into a negative place, I feel like divine truth helps me kind of regroup and sort of be like, well, what's important to me? Like, which direction do I want to go?
Can you feel that in becoming more real, there is a kind of compensation of joy? There is something like becoming more responsible, and there is pain, but there is a joy into, like, no, you are speaking of being able to state the truth and not to hide some shame thing. There is some good feeling in that. Yeah,
that is growing a little bit. Yeah.
And before we would think it's all terrible. Yeah. Nobody needs to know that. But actually, the experiments show that there is a positive feeling in being just honest, radically honest.
Definitely. I think probably like years ago, like I would have broken down having this interview. Like I just like wouldn't be sharing anything.
Certain.
So I think and I mean, it might not necessarily be divine truth, but I think it's definitely played a big part in helping me realize I can cope with some of these emotions, like feeling shame or wanting to hide away, like or embarrassment. Like I can actually I can still be in a situation feeling this stuff and sort of still be myself.
It's not that terrible as
so I can imagine that if that just keeps out getting better, it's gonna be really good.
You would be able not to think about how to be and just be yourself.
Because that's something I've often done. It's like I'm in a conversation with somebody and I'm analysing the situation so much that I can barely even be in the freaking conversation. So it's like, whereas the more I work through this stuff, I feel a bit more present in a conversation with people.
It's like what I can say now. How would that go? That would be the best. What I can do. All fear-based interaction, basically. Of being just yourself.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. Would you recommend listening and engaging to Divine Truth teaching to other people?
Definitely. It's the best. I reckon. I think if everyone just has a go listening to it, like, I think you'll feel you just, I don't know how to explain it, but if you have, I had that experience, just total like magnet, like joy, like hearing it, and then obviously you're gonna have some like hectic emotions to go through, but I still think it's worth it. Like, definitely.
Is there anything last that you wish to add?
No, nothing coming to mind right now.
So thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks for organising
for the interview, and see you next time.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.